The Colosseum of Zephyria Prime had witnessed death for 3,000 years. Its crystalline walls, carved from the planet's native bluestone, had absorbed the screams of countless beings from across the galaxy. Today those walls would witness something unprecedented. Commander Vexari of the Draconian Empire stood in the royal viewing box, his scales gleaming crimson under the arena's harsh lights. Below, the crowd of 40,000 alien spectators roared their bloodlust. Draconians with their serpentine necks, chitinous hive dwellers, gaseous nebulans contained in their pressure suits, and dozens of other species, all had come to see the human specimens fight. The humans had been captured during the raid on colony ship Aurora. 57 survivors, mostly civilians, now served as entertainment for the Empire's citizens. The Draconians had studied human physiology extensively. Weak bones, slow reflexes, pathetic natural weapons. No claws, no venom, no exoskeleton, just soft flesh and stubborn defiance. "Release the first contestant," Vexari commanded, his voice carrying across the arena through bioacoustic amplifiers. The gates groaned open. Instead of the expected adult warrior, a small figure emerged. The crowd's roar faltered into confused murmurs. It was a human child. She couldn't have been more than 8 standard cycles old. Her brown hair was matted, her clothes torn from the journey, but she walked with her small chin raised. In her arms she clutched something, a stuffed animal, Vexari realized with disgust. Some primitive human comfort object. "There has been an error," Vexari snarled at his aide. "I ordered the strongest human warrior." "Commander," the aide replied nervously. "This is the one the holding cells identified as their leader. The adults. They defer to her. Even our scanners show unusual neural activity patterns around her." The child stood in the center of the arena, small and seemingly defenseless. The crowd began to jeer, demanding blood, demanding spectacle. Some threw objects into the arena. Bits of food, small stones, insults in a dozen languages. The girl didn't flinch. "Release the shadow cats," Vexari ordered. If the humans wanted to send a child, he would make an example that would break the spirits of the remaining prisoners. 3 gates opened simultaneously. The shadow cats emerged, each one a killing machine engineered from the deadliest predators of Vexari's homeworld. Black as void, with crystalline claws that could slice through steel and fangs that dripped paralytic venom, they had never failed to kill. The beasts padded into the arena, muscles rippling under midnight fur. Their yellow eyes locked onto the small human figure. The crowd's jeering reached fever pitch. Bets were placed on how quickly the child would die. The first shadow cat approached, moving in that fluid way that preceded a lethal pounce. It was 3 meters from the girl when something impossible happened. It stopped. The massive predator, bred for killing, engineered for savagery, simply sat down. Its ears flicked forward, and it tilted its head in what could only be described as curiosity. The second shadow cat approached from the left. It too stopped, then did something that made the entire arena fall silent. It began to purr, a deep rumbling sound that vibrated through the crystalline walls. The third beast completed the circle, but instead of attacking, it lay down, placing its great head on its paws. The child looked at each of them in turn, then walked to the nearest shadow cat. The crowd gasped as she placed her tiny hand on the creature's massive head. The beast's purr grew louder, and it nuzzled against her palm. "What is this?" Vexari roared. "Why don't they attack?" Dr. Zhelin, the Empire's chief xenobiologist, had gone pale, as much as a Draconian could. "Commander," she whispered, "I'm reading pheromone levels unlike anything in our databases. The child? She's producing chemical signatures that our instruments can barely detect." "Meaning what?" "It appears to be a complex cocktail of maternal and pack-bonding compounds. But, Commander, the sophistication is beyond anything we've seen. It's as if she's speaking directly to their hindbrain, telling them she's family. She's safe." In the arena, the child had moved to the center of the 3 massive predators. She sat down cross-legged, still holding her stuffed animal, and the shadow cats arranged themselves around her like protective guardians. "Release more beasts," Vexari demanded. They brought forth acid spiders from the corrosive nebula, creatures that dissolved their prey alive. The spiders emerged, saw the child, and simply stopped. One even began weaving a delicate pattern in the air, as if creating art for her amusement. The razor-winged serpents of Helios 7 refused to strike. The bone crushers of the outer rim lay down like tame pets. Even the sentient flesh renders, engineered to hate all organic life, approached the girl with something resembling reverence. The arena had become a sanctuary, with the human child at its center, and dozens of the galaxy's most feared predators arranged around her like a living mandala of protection. Dr. Jelen's instruments were going wild. "Commander, I'm detecting quantum-level electromagnetic fluctuations. The child isn't just producing pheromones, she's somehow projecting empathy itself. Emotional resonance on a frequency that transcends species barriers." Vexari stared down at the impossible scene.
"How is this possible?"
"Perhaps," Dr. Jelen said quietly. "We've been measuring the wrong things about humans. We looked at their physical weaknesses, their lack of natural weapons. But what if their strength lies elsewhere?" In the arena, the child stood and walked toward the viewing box. Every predator rose with her, following like devoted companions. When she reached the arena wall, she looked up at Vexari with eyes that held no fear, no hatred, only a deep, patient understanding. She spoke, her young voice somehow carrying clearly through the acoustics. "Your beasts aren't evil. They're just scared and alone, like you are." The words hit Vexari like a physical blow. Around the arena, 40,000 beings fell silent. Even the translation devices seemed to struggle with the simple profundity of the statement. "We don't want to fight," the child continued. "We just want to go home. And maybe you want to stop hurting others because it reminds you of how much you hurt inside." Vexari felt something crack inside his chest. Not physically, but deeper. In his long life, he had conquered worlds, commanded fleets, struck fear into countless hearts. But this small human child had seen through to something he had buried so deep he'd forgotten it existed. The humanity in humanity, it seemed, wasn't just about the species. It was about recognizing the living spark in all beings, the fundamental need for connection and understanding that transcended evolution, technology, and empire. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Colosseum of Zephyria Prime heard not screams of death, but the quiet sound of 40,000 beings contemplating what they had become. And in the center of it all, a human child held her stuffed animal and waited patiently for the universe to remember how to be kind.